Hi everybody, welcome back to Yoga with Carlyn. I'm Carlyn and today's class is yoga for back pain. So this class can help to prevent back pain and it can also help to relieve any back pain or tension that you might have, mostly due to stress or sitting at an office job all day. It's important to keep in mind that if you have back pain because you're recovering from an injury or you have some sort of chronic condition, it's critical that you speak with your doctor before participating in any kind of physical exercise. We don't need a block for class today, but if you have one, it might be helpful towards the end of class. I'll offer options with and without the block if you don't have one. We're gonna get started in Shavasana, lying on our backs, so I will see you there when you're ready. You can just place your block off to the side because we won't be needing that until the end of class. And come to lie on the back. We'll just take about 5 breaths or so in our Shavasana. Legs and arms out long, palms facing up or down. Just how we would end class. 5 deep breaths. 4, 3, 2, last one. When you're ready, hug the right knee into the chest. Keep the left leg out long. And just give that right nice tight squeeze. Starting to open through the hip here. Really pressing that low back down into the ground. You might find some little circles with the ankle here, showing some love to the feet, the toes. Reverse your circles in the opposite direction. And just take one more breath here. And then we'll take it to the other side. Take the right leg out long. And then hug the left knee into the chest. Give it a nice tight squeeze. And again, you can draw those same circles with the left ankle. Reversing your circles after a few. Low back is really pressing down into the ground. Hips are heavy and grounded. And then when you're ready, hug both of the legs into the chest. Give yourself a nice tight squeeze. And just start to rock the body side to side, gently massaging out the low back. And we'll take this into a twist. So bring your legs to a tabletop position, shins parallel to the ground, and just gently take the legs over to the left. You might scooch the hips slightly over to the right. Take the left hand on top of the right thigh. Right arm comes out long and your gaze comes past your right shoulder. You can keep your eyes closed or your gaze soft. Just take 2 more breaths on this side. And then when you're ready, take the legs back up to a tabletop position, really using our core here to make this transition. And then taking the legs over to the right, The left arm comes out long, the right hand comes on top of the left thigh. And your gaze comes past the left shoulder, the eyes closed or the gaze soft. Just take a couple breaths here. One final breath on this side. And then when you're ready, come back through center. Hug the knees back into the chest. Take the hands behind the thighs and start to rock and roll up and down the length of the mat. Nice massage along the spine. Eventually, you'll come into a tabletop position, stacking your wrists underneath your elbows, elbows under shoulders, and your knees underneath your hips. We'll find some cat-cows. On the inhale, drop the belly gently, lift the gaze. And then on your exhale, tuck the chin, round through the spine. Really press the ground away from you. Feel the shoulder blades spread apart from one another. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Come into your variation of this pose, so it doesn't need to be a super strong back bend. And then exhale, drop the belly. And keep moving with your breath. Remember, you can always stay somewhere if it feels good. Just take one more round here. Find your cow pose, and then your cat pose. And then come back to a neutral tabletop position. We're gonna find some core work here. So having strong abdominal muscles helps us to teach our spine proper alignment, which in turn helps to prevent back pain. So coming to your neutral tabletop position, step the left foot back, and then reach the right arm out in front of you. You might stay here, or hugging the belly button in towards the spine, you might lift that left leg up to hip height. Make sure you're keeping your shoulders square down to the ground. Make sure you're not arching in the low back, really pull that belly in. You might stay here, or you might find some movement. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, tap your elbow and your knee together at center. Inhale, exhale, come to center and tap. One more time, exhale, come to center and tap, and then come back out, and this time we'll take the leg and the arm in the opposite direction, so moving the left leg out to the left, the right arm out to the right. Inhale here. Exhale back through center. Inhale out. Exhale back through center. One more time, inhale out. Exhale back through center. And come back to your tabletop position. Find one round of cat-cow. And when you're ready, take it to the other side. So take that right foot back. You can stay here. You can bring the left arm out in front of you. Stay here if this is where you feel good. Maybe you take that right leg up to hip height, remembering to pull that low belly in, preventing any arching in the low back. You might stay here and just hold, or you might find that crunching movement, inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, elbow and knee come into tap. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, tap. One more time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, tap. And then inhale, lengthen, come out. Stay here and we'll take that movement outwards. So left arm comes out to the left side, right leg goes out to the right side, creating a diagonal line. Exhale back through center. Inhale out. Exhale in. Last one, inhale out. Exhale in. And then come back to your tabletop position. Find one round of cat-cow. And then after this round of cat-cow, keeping that rounding in the spine, really press the ground away from you, lift the knees off of the ground, and slowly reach the hips up, finding your downward facing dog. Now for low back pain, it's great to keep a bend in the knee for downward facing dog, both knees that is. If you're feeling like you want to open up your hamstrings, you can always take the heels down to the ground, start to straighten the legs. But like I said, keeping those knees bent even just a little bit will help to alleviate some tension, particularly in the low back. Couple breaths here, just finding stillness in our down dog, letting the head and neck hang heavy. And then if you haven't done so already, bend the knees a lot, take your chest to your thighs, and start to walk the hands towards the feet. We'll meet in a ragdoll position at the back of the mat, so your chest and thighs are connected. You're just letting everything hang heavy, finding your ragdoll forward fold. The more you bend the knees, the gentler this will be in your low back. You might interlace the hands behind the neck, taking them to the base of the skull, and just letting your elbows come together as close as they can, finding that rounding in the upper and mid back, alleviating any tension there. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, take your hands back down to the ground, bend the knees, and walk yourself out to a high plank. And we're just using this high plank to transition to a forearm plank. So take one. Forearms are parallel to one another, creating the shape of an 11. Again, make sure that low back is not too high, but make sure it's not arched down low. Find that neutral spine, pulling the belly button in. Engaging the core to help the low back, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, we very gently drop the belly down to the ground, untuck the toes, and you're in your Sphinx Pose. Any low back tension here, feel free to move your feet a little bit wider apart. You can even bring them off of the sides of the mat. And just breathe here. Keeping the squeezing the elbows in towards the ribs. If you'd like something a little bit more intense here, you can lift the elbows off of the ground, pressing the hands down, finding your seal pose. If this is too intense, please drop the elbows, come back to that Sphinx. One more breath here. When you're ready, come back down to the forearms. If you found your seal pose, take the toes back in towards the center of the mat. Lift the knees, get strong in your core, find your forearm plank. Come up to your high plank, and then lift the hips for your downward facing dog. Find a little bit of movement this time, bending one knee at a time as you straighten the opposite leg. We'll flow through some variations of sun salutations here. When you're ready, come back to your downward facing dog. Take an inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky. And on your exhale, curl the right knee in towards the nose. Step the right foot in between the hands. Drop the back knee and straighten the front leg. Keeping the right knee bent, gently fold over in a half split pose. It's important that you keep a micro bend in that knee here. You can even have a bigger bend in the right knee if that feels good. One more breath. And then when you're ready, walk yourself back into a low lunge. Press the feet on either side of the right hand, lift the back knee, step the right foot back to meet the left. Take an inhale in your high plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, baby cobra, untuck the toes, lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Come back down. 2 more times. Inhale, lift, baby cobra, doesn't have to be high. Exhale, release. 3rd time, inhale, lift. And this time we exhale back to downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, take an inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. And then curl the left knee in towards the nose, step the left foot in between the hands. Drop the back knee and start to straighten through that left leg, stopping when it's at your comfortable level of a bend in the left knee. And just drape your body over that bent left leg. Feel a gentle stretch in the hamstring without any tension in the low back. Here. As you're ready, start to walk yourself back into that low lunge, planting the hands to frame the left foot, lifting the back knee off of the ground, stepping left foot back to meet the right, inhaling in your high plank. Exhale. Again, baby cobra 3 times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Nice fluid movement. Inhale, lift 1 more time. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths in your down dog. We'll do that 1 more time, this time moving with the breath and just taking 1 baby cobra before we come back to our downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, right foot steps in between the hands. Inhale, back knee drops. Exhale, right leg straightens, keep a bend in the knee and fold. Inhale, come forward, low lunge. Exhale, high plank. Inhale here. Exhale to the belly. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Other side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot steps between the hands. Drop the back knee. Inhale here. Exhale, fold. Left knee is bent. Exhale here. Inhale, come back to your low lunge. Exhale, high plank. Inhale here. Exhale, lower. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, drop the knees, bring them together. Knees touch and the big toes touch. And then just sit your hips back towards your heels. Take your hands long at your sides, palms facing up, shoulders round forward, and your forehead rests on the ground beneath you. Take 5 deep breaths. Last breath or 2 in your child's pose. You can always stay for longer if that's what would serve you right now. If your body's ready to come out, just move back into a downward facing dog at your own pace. Once you arrive in your downward facing dog, take an inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky. And on your exhale, curl the right knee in towards the nose. Inhale, lift the right leg one more time. Exhale, curl the right knee in towards the right wrist. Drop the front leg and come into your pigeon pose. Left leg is nice and long behind you. You can stay here upright in your pigeon pose for as long as you'd like. Might feel good to find some length in the spine. When you're ready, you can round yourself forward, finding your resting pigeon pose. Maybe stacking your fists or using that block if you have one for a place to rest the forehead. Letting the shoulders round forward once more. We'll take 3 more breaths in your pigeon pose. At the bottom of your third exhale, you'll start to walk the hands back in towards the center of the body, coming upright, sending the weight into the right hip, and then taking the left leg out towards the top left corner of the mat, setting up with your tree pose legs. So your right foot is pressing into the left side of the thigh. Take an inhale, reach up. And on your exhale, twist to your right. Take that left hand to the outer right knee and gently gaze past your right shoulder if that feels comfortable. You can always keep the gaze neutral. And then keeping your gaze back, you'll just gently take that left elbow inside of the left leg. And then take the right arm up and over the head. We're coming from this twist. You might find your range of motion is a little bit smaller, but that's okay. You should feel a nice stretch in the right side body, along the right side of the spine. Maybe you take your gaze up towards the sky. Take one more breath here. And then gently bring yourself into a forward fold, folding over that left leg. And again, I'm keeping a bend in my left knee, a bigger bend than I would normally have. Just want to keep this really gentle in my low back. Last breath here. And once you've exhaled, just gently cross the left leg underneath the right. Press the hands down into the mat, lift the hips, and find your way back to downward facing dog. And we'll take that on the other side. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, left knee curls in towards the nose. Maybe you give it a tap. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, left knee curls in towards the left elbow, setting up for your pigeon pose, dropping that bent front leg, taking the right leg nice behind you. And then when you're ready, coming into your resting pigeon pose. Maybe you still have that block there that you can use to rest the forehead on. We're not really concerned about getting super deep in our pigeon pose because this class is really about the low back. But you can go anywhere you'd like in your pigeon pose if you really want to get into the hips as well. We've got 3 more breaths here. At the bottom of the third exhale, we'll slowly come out of our pigeon pose, walking the hands in towards the center of the body, coming onto the fingertips, and then gently moving our weight into the left hip, taking the right foot long out towards the right corner of the mat. That left foot comes to the inside of the right. On this side, inhale, lift. Right hand comes to the outside of the left leg. If you can, gaze past your left shoulder. Maybe your eyes are closed. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then keeping this twist in the upper body, you're going to take that right forearm, palm facing up, to the inside of the right leg, and then take left arm up and over the head. Again, range of motion might not be as big here. We're not worried about touching the right foot. Really just finding this side body lean, finding a nice stretch in the left side of the back and the left side body. Maybe you take the gaze up to the sky. Take 1 more breath here. And then as you're ready, gently bring this into a forward fold over the right leg. I'm going to bend my right knee to keep this super gentle in the low back, rounding forward for 3 breaths. As you're ready, slowly come out of this posture, and we're gonna make our way onto our backs, bringing the block with us. So take it down to your back, keep the feet pressed down into the ground. We're taking a bridge pose, or if you wanna use the block, we'll take a restorative bridge pose. So bring your hands at your sides, press the heels down into the mat. Make sure you can just hardly graze the heels with the fingertips. If you can grab the ankles completely, you need to bring the legs out a little bit farther from the center of the body. So if you don't have a block and you're taking, lift the hips ever so gently. If you do have a block, you can take this block underneath the body, right at the sacrum, triangular bone at the base of the spine, and then relax in this restorative bridge posture. If you're in your active bridge posture, we'll be here for 10 breaths, so feel free to come in and out of the pose as necessary. We're about halfway through if you're in an active bridge and you need to lower the hips and then lift them back up. Take your final 2 to 3 breaths here. If you're in your active bridge pose, you can slowly lower the hips down to the ground. If you're in your restorative bridge pose with the block, you'll press into the feet and the hands. Inhale, lift the hips, gently slide the block out from underneath you, and then down to the ground. And once you arrive with the low back on the ground, take the feet wide to either edge of the mat. Knock the knees in towards one another. Rest your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly, counteracting that bend of the back. And just taking rest here for 3 breaths. After your last breath, bring the feet back to hips with distance apart, ankles underneath the knees. And from here, we'll move on to a figure 4 reclined pigeon pose. Bringing that left foot to the right knee or thigh, gently pressing that left knee away from you. And then grabbing underneath the right thigh, hugging the right knee into the chest as you continue to press the left. Low back is supported. 3 breaths here. When you're ready, gently bring the right foot back down to the ground, followed by the left foot. And we'll take that to the opposite side. Cross that right foot on top of the left knee or thigh. Hold here, pressing the right knee away from the center of the body. Or interlace the hands behind the left thigh and hug the left knee into the chest, pressing the right knee away from you. Again, low back is grounded down, supported by the floor beneath you. Just 3 breaths here. When you're ready, bring the left foot back down to the ground, followed by the right. And we're coming into our final moments of class here, setting up for Shavasana. So you can take the legs out long for a traditional Shavasana. Or sometimes when I'm feeling some tension in the low back, I like to take that same posture, the broken bridge that we took to counteract our bridge pose. So if you'd like, you can bring your feet out wide, knock the knees into the chest, rest one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, maybe both hands on the belly. Arms can be long at your sides or long behind your head. Just take this last moment of class to let everything go. Allow your breathing to return to natural. Nothing to do, nothing to focus on here, not even the breath. And as thoughts come up, without any judgment, just let them pass by. You can always come back to them at another time. All you have to do right here is just be. can stay here for as long as you'd like. Whenever you're ready to come out of this, you can hug the knees into the chest. Make your way to a seated position however you'd like to get there. Gaze is nice and soft, or the eyes closed in your seated position. Resting the hands on the thighs or the knees, will end class with 3 deep breaths together. Take an inhale through the nose, fill up the belly and the lungs. Exhale, breathe out through the mouth. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, let go. One last time, inhale, fill up. Exhale, sigh it out. Bring the hands to heart center. Thank you all so much for practicing with me. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, comment below. Let me know if you liked class, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.